Steel boots stomping, crashing the floor. Two wild Yinzers kicking through the door. Loud like a jag off at a Pins game fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice.
Hey, you guys! Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is episode 761 of the Two Dumb Yinzers. Welcome back. Glad to see everybody this morning. Mike, I'm glad to see you this morning.
Yes.
Here we are, smack dab in the middle of summer, baby. Just 2 more days until the days start getting shorter.
Oh, God, I can't wait.
It's going to be the longest day of the year here coming up in a few days. So after that, Mike, they all start getting shorter all the way to the end of the year. So summer is starting, but as it starts working its way closer and closer to wintertime.
I can't wait. I am already over the heat. It was unbearably hot at work, and it was only like 68 degrees outside, but it's hot and humid, and the bricks just hold all the heat. Looking ahead to next week, 90 degrees on Tuesday. I'm going to be here on Tuesday after work for the show. I'm going to be melted away like Clayface from, what is it, Spider-Man? Or whatever comic book that dude was in.
Man, it's hot. No two ways about it.
Disgusting, bro.
We're getting by. We're making
But
it.
you know what that means, though? Training camp's right around the corner, baby.
That's right, man.
When it gets to this heat.
We have a month and about 5 days, Mike. It's June 18th. And the guys will be gathering up at Latrobe here on the 23rd of July. So, Mike, we're so close to getting there. And I got to be honest, this offseason did go pretty damn quick, man. I was expecting it to go slower, but you know what? Just like life, it just went fast. And you know what? It is what it is.
It flew by.
Welcome back, everybody. I wasn't available yesterday, Mike. I spent the day at the DMV. Saturday, I was initially going to go, and I heard reports that there was a lot of people. It was busy, so I didn't go. I was like, you know what? I'll just go on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'll just go and get it done real quick, and I'll be done for 4 years.
Yeah.
Of course, I had to update my license, Mike. And I got to be honest with you. When I pulled up and seen people lined up, it's in one of these strip malls, basically. And when I pulled up, I seen people lined up out the door all the way back to the Dunham Sports that sits there. I thought, you got to be fucking kidding me. Kidding me. Mike, 3 hours and 11 minutes later, I leave that leper colony. If I never have to do that again, I will be so thankful. I'll be so grateful if I never have to go through that again. Mike, it was... let me tell you, just until we get things warmed up and moving here, get some people rolling in, I'll talk about this for a bit because I do have a few interesting points about it to make. And if there's any hot chicks in the vicinity, well, let me put it this way, Mike. There's probably about 300 people in this building, and it was insane. Yeah. And if you don't understand what the real ID is and how crazy people are over this real ID, you're really missing out. It's a whole thing. And I get there, Mike. It took me an hour to get inside the building.
That's insane.
I stood in this line as soon as I got there. I stood in that line for 1 hour, and then I got inside. And then when you get on the inside of the DMV, you have to go through a serpentine. It takes about another hour. And then they put you in the seated area finally, which takes another hour. It took 3 hours and 11 minutes. It took about 2 minutes to do the stuff that I had to get done. But so much waiting, Mike. Again, if I never have to do this for the rest of my life, I'll be so thankful. But these people, Mike, let me start out by saying, if there's a hot chick anywhere in the vicinity, that's enough to help you get by. You can look at a hot chick and do that whole thing. But Mike, there was no hot chick. Mike, 100, 200, I'd say 150 people, and none of them were hot chicks. None.
Maybe you were the hot chick to someone there.
This place was a cesspool like I've never seen.
The hot chicks knew not to go on Tuesday. They all went Monday. That's where you dropped the ball, dude. You should have went Monday.
There was a guy with an eye patch.
Was it over his left eye?
I don't know. Yeah, probably. Good morning, Corey. Happy Father's Day to you, sir. Glad to see you this morning. Hope you're having a great day. I'm just venting over my trip to the DMV. 3 hours and 11 minutes yesterday. It took me. I'm in a daze, Mike. It was an experience. So there was the guy with the with the eye patch. Now let me tell you, when I say leper colony, I'm not exaggerating. The guy with the eye patch, and then there was this old guy. He must have been 80. He was trying to cut. He was trying to cut in line. And as I said, Mike, it's 3 hours of waiting.
No, line jumpers are getting jumped. I don't care who you are or how old you are.
And an older guy behind me tapped me on the shoulder. He's like, "Hey, I think that guy is behind us. I think he's cutting." So I had to raise my voice a little bit. I was like, "Yeah, I think he is too." Let's, So there was that, the cutter, the guy with the eye patch. Like I said, there was no good looking chicks. One girl actually looked like Russell Wilson. I'm going to be honest. This was probably one of the better looking girls there.
Hey, could have been worse. She could have looked like Casey Hampton or me.
And then in the third hour, when I was in the sitting area, this woman comes in with a bag of McDonald's. Every ounce of hate that I had in me,
because it makes you, because now you're hungry.
I could have just stuck my hand in her bag and took one of them burgers. So that was
you should have had DoorDash come find you in the line.
And this is how I spent my day yesterday. And as I said, Mike, I was exhausted.
Oh yeah, I bet it's something you don't want to do. You have to do. DMVs are getting, they shut them down. So everyone in like a 50-mile radius has to go to the same one, and you sit there all day. I hate it.
I'm gonna be honest, Mike, and this isn't meant to be derogatory in any way, shape, or form, but there was more Mexicans than I've ever seen in my life in that building.
Ryan's ready to call ICE.
Well, Mike, they weren't regular Mexicans. They were people that were white.
They weren't
spoke Spanish. They were people that were black that spoke Spanish. I thought the guy in front of me was just a regular black guy for the whole entire line. God. Mike, he spoke, and he was
so he's probably Dominican.
Something.
Yeah, he was like Randall Simon.
Yeah.
Dominican. Yeah.
Well, anyway.
Puerto Ricans there.
There was everything of every race of everything was there. Believe me, I seen an Indian guy. There was everything at the DMV.
More or less, you were at the United Nations.
I was at the United Nations yesterday. If you're wondering where I was at, everybody. Good morning. Good morning to Tortilla on the board. Tortilla says the DMV park. You know what? You aren't shitting, man. You aren't shitting. What a thing they got going on. And as I said, everybody's into this real ID. So that's what, it was packed. Everybody was in there getting
because if you want to fly, you have to have the real ID.
So these people are going crazy. And then you're in the line and you catch all the small talk for 3 hours.
Oh my God. That's what I hate about going to play is the inane conversations that you have to hear.
I hope this is done by 1 o'clock. I got to be at work by 2. Oh, I wish the sun was a little bit over here so it isn't so hot. You know what I mean? All those small talk things that you stand there and you're just like, oh God. But that's done for 4 years. I swear, if I'm dead by the next time it comes around, I'll be satisfied.
There you go.
If I don't have to do that ever again.
So then who am I going to do the show with? Me and the dummy? No.
Stop worrying about you. This isn't about you.
No. This is about the show. It's no. Now it affects me. Now your DMV story affects me in a personal
manner.
Everybody I talk to,
they're like, I care. You know what? The longest I've been in there is about an hour. Like 3 hours and 11 fucking minutes. I couldn't believe it. I was done for the day after that. I couldn't do anything else.
No, Tortilla, that's a great suggestion. They should put a bar in the DMV and everything will be fixed. Hell yeah.
or big
Hell yeah.
dodgeball court or something. Just something that you can let
Something
out
to
your
do.
anger, you know?
Something to do because it's so boring in there.
And all you got to do is just look at the guy in front of you's head. And like I said, the guy in front of me was this black guy. He was a post office worker. He was a mailman. And he had his mailman costume on the whole way, you know?
Yeah.
And then when he talked, he started talking Spanish. I could not understand a word. It caught me off guard. I just thought,
Yeah,
it was,
because exactly. I know
you
what
know.
you mean because you look at somebody, you're expecting, okay, this in your head, you're going, oh, but they sound like this, they sound like
Right.
that, and then it's out of left field. You're like, I know that's not what I was expecting. I was not expecting Spanish, sir.
Yeah, it was a leper colony, man. No two ways about it. I hated it. I never want to go back, and I've never ever had to do. That's the longest I had to ever do it, and that was crazy, man.
But speaking of like accents that you don't expect out of, there's this white kid. He was adopted by a Japanese or a Chinese family, and he was raised in China. Now he has that. Then he learned American, so now he has that stereotypical accent. And every time he talks, he sounds like he's being racist towards the Chinese. It's like, no, that's where I was born and raised. I don't know what that just, your melting pot experience made me think of that because like you're not, like you said, you're expecting to hear one thing, you hear another, and you're caught off guard.
Yeah, that's definitely what went down. And then that lady with them French fries. As soon as I smelled
that right there,
that was
like,
it for me.
You're waiting, and now you're hungry.
And I hadn't eaten yet prior to going.
And she's sitting there all smug eating her fries and her burgers, like I'm the smart ones.
And every woman in there, Mike, every woman had something damning about their physical appearance. You know what I mean? If you could usually come across one chick that looks okay, every single one had something damning about their appearance.
Oh,
and
God.
It was terrible, man.
But hey, maybe you were their eye candy. Maybe you brightened their day, big guy.
You know what? That might be the case. I might have been the best looking person there. And that's
that
not
gray
good.
mustache, and they're like,
that is not good.
They know. They're like, yeah, that's my seat cushion, baby. That's my seat cushion.
I had to walk around with this face for many years. Believe me, it's not a good thing if I'm the best looking person in there.
Right.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. In case you're wondering, that's what that's
right. Ryan had a rough one.
That's what I had to do, and I had to get it done. It needed to get done yesterday. So there you go. One other thing before we do get started, speaking of chicks, speaking of women, this new fad that's going around. When I was a kid, the baggy jeans. Back in the 60s, it was the hippies. This fad that's going around right now on videos on social media is hot chicks wearing sundresses, and they go random places and take off their underwear.
And then they put it in their ponytail.
Well, the one girl put it in her ponytail. This other girl, she just took it off and put it on the shelf in the store. She was in a store, like a Walmart. Took her underbritches off and just put them right up on the shelf.
That's nasty.
But that's the trend now. Hot chicks in hot sundresses taking off their underwear in random places.
No. You can take them off, put them in your purse, put them in up in your ponytail. Yeah, but don't be leaving your nasty ass drawers on a shelf without gotta go buy something.
But this is what's going on. This is what's happening. The real ID and women taking their underwear off in public.
So why didn't we talk about that for like 13 minutes? Hot chicks in sundresses. Can we stop and restart the show?
If there would have been more hot chicks in sundresses at the DMV, it might not have been as bad. However, like I said, the hottest chick there looked like Russell Wilson. So you do the math.
Did she have Russell Wilson money? That's what you got to ask yourself.
I highly doubt it.
I
highly doubt it, my friend. All right.
See, that's where we went wrong. We need to be rich so we can have the hot chicks.
Maybe next time around we'll get the looks or we'll get the money and not the looks, right?
Yeah, exactly. Having the looks right now, I don't know about you, man, but being a sexy motherfucker, it's taxing, isn't it?
It isn't paying the bills.
That's for damn sure. Is that why I saw you on the corner?
Yeah. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Mike, we have a new Stanley Cup champion as of last night. We have a back-to-back Stanley Cup champion, Mike. This Florida Panthers team that got in 3 years ago into the playoffs because we weren't able to close the door and get that playoff spot. Every year we missed the playoffs so far. The Florida Panthers made the Stanley Cup finals, and they lose year one. They win back-to-back years in year 2 and 3, both against the Edmonton Oilers. congratulations to the Florida Panthers becoming a true powerhouse in the NHL. Like a team from Florida after Tampa Bay had their little run. So Tampa, the Florida teams are looking pretty good when it comes to the NHL.
They are. It's surprising, but I'm liking it. You're getting a team. You're not expecting a team from Florida to be dominant, and here we are. We had two of them, and more or less back-to-back little mini dynasties. It's nice to see hockey spreading everywhere, and Canada skunked again. They got to wait.
Florida's winning all these cups, and Canada's winning none.
That's what Canada gets for talking shit on Mario Lemieux and Sidney Crosby. They have to come and bail you out in international play. You love them then, but in club play and in league play, you hate them also. F Canada when it comes to hockey. I'm loving it. And Connor McDavid, people were saying, oh, he's in that conversation with like Gretzky, Lemieux, Crosby. Dude, you did nothing your last two games. Must-win games, and you did nothing. Yeah, you're not in that conversation yet. You're 10 years in. You don't have a cup. You've missed two. No.
Mike, also the NBA Finals. The Thunder take a 3-2 lead the other night. They'll be back at it for Game 6 tomorrow night at 8:30. Halliburton for the Pacers. Mike, he managed 4 points in the loss the other night. Indiana needs to win the last two games of the series to bring home the finals. It's going to be tough. OKC up 3-2. Yeah. They are going back to Indiana, but Indiana has to win at home, and then they got to go back up to or down to OKC and try to win it there. Mike, it's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough. The cream may have risen to the top right now over there. OKC, I thought they were going to win. I was rooting for Indy, but OKC, the way they came out of the West, pretty dominant. It's not surprising that they're taking a little bit of a lead here.
Let's jump on the board, Mike. Some messages coming through. Tortilla, what's up, my brother? How you doing today, sir? Always great to see Tortilla on the board. Tortilla says, Deshon, Elliot, baby. I love this signing, Mike. I love this signing. He reminds me a lot of Ryan Clark out on the field. And if you get a guy like this back there, Mike, it's always a good thing. Very excited about the Deshon Elliot news. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. Corey says 3 hours. F that. I would have left my car and walked. Driving isn't worth it to have to wait 3 hours for permission to keep doing what you've been doing for decades. Boycott the DMV. That's what I thought. I thought, I've been driving for 30 years. This is all BS. Why can't I just send something in and you send something back and, we move on? It's absolutely insane with this DMV. I can't say it enough. Tortilla goes on to say if they put a bar in the DMV, everything will be fixed. Yinzer Joe, what's up, my brother? Always great seeing Yinzer Joe on the board. He says, what's up, Yinzers? Tortilla says it's an unwritten law. Pretty girls don't have to go to the right? In 3 hours, not one pretty girl walked through those doors. It's just come on.
They all saw you, dude, and they turned around. They're like, he is too sexy. We can't deal with him right now. They had to go home and drop their wet underwear off somewhere. They were afraid to take it off in front of you, baby.
My thoughts exactly.
Yeah.
Yinzer Joe says, it's okay for women to pull off and drop underwear off, but when I do it, I'm disgusting. Yinzer Joe, that's why I love you, baby. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. This is episode 761 of the Two Dumb Yinzers. Welcome back for this Wednesday installment of the show. I'm glad to be back, everybody. I 100% would rather be doing this than what I did yesterday. So I'm in a lot better mood. I was cranky, man. I was texting my buddy last night, and he was like, "Man, are you in a bad mood or what?" But that's what it took it out of me, man.
It does, man. It does. Like anytime you have to go somewhere you don't want to go to, it's killer.
Yeah, right.
I hate it. I
hate doing things.
Yeah.
Corey says that's because they have an ugly husband to go for the
yeah, right. That's me. I'm the ugly husband for my hot wife. Yeah. My secret's out.
Speaking of basketball, Mike, the Indiana Fever back at it last night. They take the 88-71 victory over Connecticut Sun. In the Fever improved to 6-5. Caitlin Clark scores 20 points, has 6 assists and 1 rebound. Got roughed up again.
Oh yeah.
And now that it's being talked about more, I'm paying attention to it more. Man, does she get roughed up in that league? I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it's good. maybe the controversial kind of stuff with this is what they're shooting for. I don't know. But again, you have to use her one way or another to help your league, to springboard that league that's been failing for 30 years. Maybe this is the game plan. Have her play like the Jackie Robinson role, and maybe that will bring asses to seats. I don't know. One way or another, you have to utilize Caitlin Clark if you're the WNBA. And as I said, Mike, she got roughed out. The girl gouged her eyes, and then as she's holding her eyes, this other girl comes up and body checks her, and she falls on the ground. It's becoming very obvious now.
Oh yeah, and it's funny too. I was just thinking about it. It reminds me of after the NHL when Lemieux was gaining ground on Gretzky and passing him in popularity and skill and talent, to where everyone gooned up on him. Then he retired. Then the Penguins got Yager. Everyone gooned up on him. Then they all gooned up on Crosby, and thinking that's the way, okay, we're going to show them, we're going to put them in their place. And that's how we're going to win the game too, is by, going after them, beating them up, see it's going to throw them off the game. And her, just like those other three, when you do that to her, guess what? She plays better. And there's just something about great players that when you do that to them, they pop off. You saw, people try to get head games into Kobe, and he would dominate. You're when you're at that level, that stuff actually fires you up and makes you play better. And it's just, funny. And it was a little Sophie Cunningham. She was like the enforcer for Caitlin Clark. She's so grabbing people by the head and shit. She's tough, that little chick.
She's so hot. Did you see like when they walk in, they show them like walking into the arena? She's so hot. She looks like a model.
Yeah, 6'1", $165. Looking at her profile right now. Maybe if she was at the DMV, things would have ran a whole hell of a lot smoother for you, Ryan. Well, yeah, I'm watching the highlights now. She just grabs
Sophie Cunningham.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
She just grabbed him in the headlock and threw the chick down. She's like, "No, we're not doing this."
It's getting bad. Torquia says Angel Reese has an opportunity to become the hottest DMV worker of all time. You ain't kidding.
No, we should be putting applications in the wrong basket. Put them in, throw them in, getting them all back.
You know what's weird about Angel Reese? She's so talented. She just doesn't do the little things well. She has this natural ability to do a lot of things on the court well, but the little things, I've seen her airball layups before.
Yeah.
The fundamentals, she's just not that good at. That's what keeps her from being great. But she has this natural ability to do all these, with rebounding and her size.
Yeah.
She's great to watch.
Yeah.
For many reasons.
You watch her highlights, and if you would just slow down a half a second on some of those breaks that she's on when she's open, she probably could be making more shots than she does. Her
body has to catch up with her mind or something.
Yes. It's like she's thinking too much. She's trying to outthink herself to do it. And then you watch her try and take longer range shots. Like, no, you just got to operate within 5 feet of the board. Be that. Don't worry about trying to shoot these big shots outside. No. Play close to the glass.
Let me ask you a question.
Dennis Rodman did that and had a hell of a career.
You know that leg sleeve that she wears?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty hot.
Yeah, I love that leg sleeve.
Would you sniff it?
Next question.
The top? the top?
That'd be nasty. Anyone's leg sleeve. Anyone's used game gear. Ugh, it's disgusting.
Let's see.
If she went on a date and just wore that with me, hell yeah, let's go.
Joe says, I think all women in the league are gunning for her. Hey, I think it's obvious. Brittany Griner would be. I like Brittany Griner. Matter of fact, I like her a lot. I was supporting her when she was stuck in Russia, and I like the WNBA. Again, as I said last week, Mike, I like women and I like sports. So a lot of times I just get into these sports. Women's volleyball, basketball, football.
Women's football, dude. That's not a gimmick, folks. He loves the Pittsburgh.
I really do. Every Saturday at 6:00, I'm in front of the TV.
He is, too. He is. Like, if I have other stuff going on, he's texting me. If I stop over the studio, he's giving me the play-by-play, a rundown.
Angel Reese plays like JaVale McGee.
There's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yinzers Joe, she'd give you a Russian license, too. I'm not even sure she's a woman. I'm serious. I was the guy that was saying, "No, you're crazy. She's a woman." But now I don't know. Every time I see her, I'm beginning to wonder. I don't know if she is. Well, hey, she might not be a woman.
Oh, your girl, though. You have a crush on her. You love her.
She's a woman, yeah. What else we
Love
got
is
here?
love, right?
Mike, the Penguins, you did bring them up briefly with Sidney
Yeah.
Crosby. Sidney
Yeah.
Crosby was chosen for the team Canada at the 2026 Winter Olympics next year.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise, 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 surprise. Sidney Crosby playing for Team Canada.
Right. And if McDavid wants to win anything, he has to be on that team. The only time he has won anything is with Sidney Crosby. But yeah, it's surprised. It's probably going to be Sid's last Olympics, you would think. He can't keep playing at a high level forever, can he?
You wouldn't think, but he's doing well to this point.
I know,
Mike.
right? He's still like top 10, top 15 in points.
38. Sid the Kid is going to be 40 in 2 years. So
Dude, I saw a picture recently of him. He has gray hair.
does he? Well, he should. He's old.
No, because that means I'm getting older.
Mike, he's only 10 years younger than I am. And look at me. I'm a disaster.
Well, he works out every day.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
You go to the DMV once every 4 years.
He probably has people do it for him. Like also, and then finally baseball, and then we will get into Steeler talk for the duration. Yeah. The Pirates, they are up in Detroit playing the last series before they head back home. They lose last night 7-3. The Pirates fall to 29-45. They fall, Mike, to 16.5. Remember when they got up to like 14? I was excited, or 13, and I was like, well, they're moving up. They're dropping. They're falling fast again. The Pittsburgh Pirates, 16.5 games out. Bailey Falter throws 5 innings, gives up 5 hits, 3 earned runs, a walk, and has 4 strikeouts. The Pirates will be back at it today for game 2 of 3 against the Tigers. Probables are Andrew Haney with a 3-5 record, of 3.33 and 59 strikeouts on the year. And for the Tigers, Tariq Skubal with a 7-2 record, 1.99 ERA, and 111 strikeouts on the season. Brian Reynolds leaves the game early because his wife went into labor. This is what I'm talking about, Mike. Have kids on your own time. If you're a professional ball player, you only work so many months out of the year. Brian Reynolds, it doesn't surprise me that he pulled this, Mike. He leaves during the game because his wife is having labor.
Like, dude, if you know she was going to be due at this time, just have the skipper give you the day off. We don't need you anyway. You suck.
Yeah.
So it might have actually improved the team by him not being out there.
Speaking of skipper Mike, Don Kelly, he used to play for the Tigers. He got a pretty awesome tribute video before the game yesterday. Really awesome. They're having a good time up in Detroit. Pirates again back at it today. It's today at 6:40. You can also get on and vote for your favorite All-Stars. Andrew McCutcheon and IKF Mike are sitting at top 10 in their position. So get on, vote for your favorite Pittsburgh Pirates for the Midsummer Classic in just a few weeks. It's going to be here, Mike. So one other quick thing that's Pirates related. Jack Wilson's son, a longtime shortstop for the Pirates. His son, Jacob Wilson, who plays for the A's, is the leading All-Star vote getter for shortstops in the American League.
That's awesome. That is tough, awesome.
Man. Good kid. He's a hell of a ball player.
Why, Pittsburgh is always obsessed with getting former athletes, whether it's kids of former athletes. Why can't the Buccos get the good ones?
I wish we would have got him.
All
right, guys, time to get into some football talk. Football, black and gold. Here we go, baby. Mike, I'm going to start off with this because it's kind of funny. I didn't know what's going on with Antonio Brown. The last I heard, people were looking for him. The police were looking for him. He had this incident a few weeks ago at a boxing match in May, actually, and it comes back that he's wanted on attempted murder charges. Mike, I see a tweet the other day by Antonio Brown. The tweet was a MLS post that said Bears star quarterback Caleb Williams not interested in girls as a kid. Caleb was too locked into football. And Antonio Brown tweets, faggot of the day.
Oh, Jesus God, AB.
So even while being pursued by law enforcement, as far as I know, I don't know, I haven't heard anything
different.
My
God.
He calls Caleb Williams faggot of the day, where he's usually coming up with cracker of the day and things like this. So AB still up to his antics, Mike,
right?
While being wanted.
Yes, he's not letting the attempted murder charge stop him from spreading joy, hate, whatever AB thinks he's doing. He's not letting the man keep him down.
He's not letting the man keep him down. You got to respect that.
Jesus Christ. Oh, AB. Never
man.
change, Mr. Big Chest. Never change. You provide me laughs.
Also, Mike, fans experiencing long waits, website issues while trying to get these Ireland game tickets for the Steelers and the Vikings. A lot of problems, Mike. 600,000 people waiting in queue to get their hands on some of these tickets. that place is going to be rocking.
Yeah. My buddy actually, he got tickets yesterday. He got 4 tickets, taking the family over. Fuck that guy. But no, he said he got him, real quick in and out on the queue. He was there ready to go. Got out, and he was like, his biggest takeaway is, holy shit, the amount of hidden fees that we pay here in the US for tickets is outrageous.
Yeah, I could
And
believe
he's
that.
like, yeah, but he got 4 tickets for $1,000.
All right.
I was like, he's like, not bad. And they're good seats too.
I'm
So,
guessing he got his legal ID or his real
yeah,
ID.
he has his real ID. He has his passport. He's doucher. He's not taking me. That's why I hate him right now.
Of course, the big news, Mike, over the past couple of days is the signing of Deshon Elliot. Deshon Elliot, Mike, is signed with the Steelers to a 3-year, $15.5 million contract. I think, what is it? Is it 15.5 a year?
No,
It's 15.5 altogether. Okay.
Yeah. And then because it's like 9 something guaranteed.
So we do have him locked up, Mike, for a couple seasons, and I love this. I always thought that he was comparable to Ryan Clark. If you would just see his play and his demeanor on the football field, I always thought he put me in mind of Ryan Clark, which is a player that's, why wouldn't you want to have more of that?
Oh yeah, he like I said, he is a true Steeler. The way he plays, hard, fast, physical, doesn't cheat you on effort. I love this signing, and he allows the other guys back there to do what they need to do. He's a nice, steady influence back there. Like I said, like the way Ryan Clark was. You know where he's going to be. He's not going to go out there and freelance. So the guys who like the freelance can go do it because he's going to have your back and be there ready to cover you. I love this signing. I
would love to see with this signing, Mike Minka come out and actually have a really good season this year, because if he does
with Juan Thornhill too.
Yeah,
those 3, yeah.
Mike, the more I'm thinking, this could potentially be a good season.
Yeah.
I read something the other day that the Steelers, I think it was Sports Illustrated, perhaps, said that they are the leading candidates for Arch Manning. Again, a long way to go before we can even get to talking about that. But Mike, as I said, it seems like we're going to have a decent season, and that's going to put us in a different position. And who knows what the hell's going to go on? There's speculation that Aaron Rodgers, if things goes well, he may even come back another season. So, Mike, that's a lot of ifs. It's a lot of time between now and then.
Yeah,
and it's a lot of time for the crowd to turn, the fans in Pittsburgh to turn on Aaron Rodgers and things to go sour. You've seen it happen before, Mike. But this big signing with Deshon Elliot, here's what he wrote, Mike. He wrote a love letter to the Steelers, grateful to the Rooney family, Omar Khan, and Coach Tomlin for bringing me to Pittsburgh and giving me a home. Thankful to be extended for 2 more years to play for the best organization and in front of the best fans in the NFL. That was Deshon Elliot after being signed, Mike, to his contract. I'm excited. You're excited. It's like I said, having another Ryan Clark back there. It's going to be good for our defense. It's going to be good for our secondary. And if we could get that other safety, Mike, to come out and have a semi all-pro season, I think that could do so much for our secondary. And Mike, having that production from your safeties could be a lot of fun. Again, Deshon Elliot.
Yeah, I like him, and he's here for this year, 2 more years after that. Secondary is rounding in forward. Like next year, if we decide not to go quarterback, like we were saying, man, get another top end corner. Then you have Deshon Elliott, Minka Fitzpatrick for another year, Joey Porter Jr. It's a nice secondary. It's like people want to say there's no plan. The Steelers have no plan. You got to be crazy. Look how they're building this team. It's a nice building of the team to where, like, I think they can be really competitive this year, but then look out in 2026, 2027, 2028. This team is primed to get back to where we're used to seeing the Steelers.
Mike, let me give you this nugget of information, though. The Will Howard, possibly the quarterback of the future. Mike, this is a statistic about quarterbacks that won the national championship in college. 9 of the last 167 college national champion quarterbacks have started a playoff game in the NFL.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah. 9 of the 167 national champions in college football quarterbacks have started a playoff game in the NFL. 9.
Wow. Wow. That just goes to show you, man. It's totally different game from college to pros, right there. Because
Yeah.
some of those quarterbacks who won national championships, you watch them play, you're like, holy shit. Like, hey, this guy's gonna be great in the pros, and then gets there and like turns out can't play a lick. Hopefully, Will Howard can make it 10. I would like that.
Yeah, I mean, come on, it's something that we want here in Pittsburgh, and again, I mean, he could very well be the next guy up.
Yeah,
I mean, come on, I think Mason Rudolph's coming to the end of his road here.
yeah,
Whatever he decides to do, whether it's move on, whether it's stay here as a backup
yeah,
or hang it up, he possibly can't really. He made money. Why not go enjoy your life? I mean, he's not going to be a starting quarterback
yeah.
in the NFL at any point.
I
Come on.
and he wouldn't be bad to have as your number 2 quarterback next year either.
Yeah, you're right.
Because you know what you're getting out of him, and like he knows how the teams run. The guys like him. He's a good guy to have on your team, and a good mind to have in the quarterback room too. Someone who can teach the young guys how to be a pro. You know, he's a valuable commodity to have on the team. Even if he's not going to be your starter, you still need a quality backup. And he's proven when called on, he can be a good backup, and that's all he might ever be in the NFL. And there's nothing wrong with being a backup. Shit, man.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No,
Mike,
no.
let's
No,
get
I just
back-
wish he was a goddamn starter.
Let's get back on the board. Tortilla says, "All right, drop the charges. Free AB." That's right. He didn't kill anybody. He just tried.
He just tried.
He just
Like,
tried.
who hasn't tried?
Come on, the guy, when he puts his mind to something, he could be. He's successful.
I mean, yeah, he made it to the
come
peak
on.
of his profession.
Did he really try to kill this guy?
Oh, Jesus.
Corey says, "It's hard for me to be excited about the Elliot extension. I'm glad he's staying, but with how expensive our defense is, with how lackluster the last few seasons have been, makes me ask about a wide receiver." Mike, I have about 3 things I want to say about this comment.
Yeah.
Thank you for the comment. Great comment, actually, Corey. I think that our defense is going to be better by default if,
Yeah.
in fact, Aaron Rodgers improves the offense. I've said this
Yeah.
time and time before in the show. If he comes in and we can avoid the 3 and outs every time we get
Yeah.
the ball, that's going to help the defense out. You're not leaving me out on the field so much, and they've been left to try to save this team for the last couple of years. And a lot
Yeah.
of the games we won, Mike, it's come down to a punched out ball or a play made by our defense. So, I hope that changes the dynamic of the team in its entirety to where the defense could operate now more as a normal
Yeah.
defense would, opposed to trying to carry the load as your quarterbacks just continue to suck and suck again.
Yeah.
So for that reason, Mike, I'm excited about this defense, and I think now we might get an opportunity to see maybe why it's considered to be one of the top. It's the top paid defense, of course,
Yeah.
Mike. But just as I said, having them not play from behind the 8 ball, you might actually start to see how talented this group really is. When for the past 2-3 seasons they had to carry the load, it's hard to do everything that you want to do with your defense if you have to be the backbone to
Yeah.
make sure the shit doesn't fall and collapse.
And the Elliott signing does not preclude the Steelers from signing a wide receiver. It only added like $1 million to this year's cap space. And, they had to spend so much money anyway. He's the great guy to give that extension to because we'll need him next year, because if we didn't sign him, now we have a hole at safety. Then it'll be like, oh, my God, we have a hole at safety. What are we doing? Now that hole's filled. Okay. We don't have to worry about him. We know we have him. We saw what he did here. He has a nice track record throughout the NFL. To wherever he's gone, he's been a successful player. So I like this signing. This is the kind of guy you need on this team. A no-nonsense guy who, when asked why he wanted to be here, just pointed to the Steeler logo. He bleeds black and gold.
And I'm glad he's not one of these guys that says, I'm here because I love Mike Tomlin. I'm getting tired of hearing this because
I want to be a Steeler. He's like,
Mike,
I want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler.
And to just give you a little bit of perspective, because people always say something about Tomlin, and some people, they don't understand what's going on, I think. Let me put this into perspective for you. Mike Tomlin, Mike, he won a playoff game in four times in 18 years. He won playoff games in 4 seasons. So 14 seasons, he won no playoff games. So let me put that into perspective. John Harbaugh, 17 years, he was able to win at least one playoff game in 9 of those. Even Mike McCarthy, in 18 years, Mike, he was able to win a playoff game in 7 of those years. So at some point we got to say, you know what, this record, this regular season, it's kind of garbage. It means nothing to nobody anywhere besides Mike Tomlin. And as I said, the other long tenured coaches in the league, those are the numbers. And if you want to continue to look at other long tenured coaches, it's going to get even worse, because now you're going to be talking Andy Reid and guys like this. So again, we need to win. We need to win some playoff games. But back to what Corey said in this message here, I have a wish list right now, and my wish list is a couple of guys that you wouldn't expect the Steelers to get or ever have. I mean, in all honesty, and you're going to see what I mean. Right now, my wish list to finish up to round out our roster before the season comes, Mike, I want Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
I want Jalen Ramsey, and I want Terry McLaurin. If we could pull Terry McLaurin and Jalen Ramsey, I say this team is now in Super Bowl conversations.
I think Jalen's going to be if we get one of the two, is the easier one to get. Terry McLaurin, apparently he was just offered a contract that was like 37 million a year.
But that's just my wish list. I know.
Other
wide receivers that I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind.
I would love it.
But if this is my wish list. Jalen Ramsey and McLaurin. Mike, if we get them guys, we are talking.
Oh yeah,
you got to put the Steelers in the Super Bowl conversation. You have to.
At that point, that puts us in the Steelers Super Bowl conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. So Corey, great message on the board. Mark Malone says, Mark Malone, what's up, brother? Always
Mark
great
Malone.
seeing you, my friend. Mark Malone says 15-2 this year, mine homies. I hope you're right, man. You know what? I don't know what the hell. At first I didn't want him to do well because I wanted to get a good quarterback, but now we're putting a good team together. It's exciting. I don't want him to lose. I want to go all the way, and I want to get more pieces now. And I went, let's go all in if this is what we're gonna do. Don't do it halfway. Don't do it half-assed. Make it a must-win season and see how the hell it turns out. I don't know, Mike. What I initially thought might have been the way this went, I don't think it's going to be, because we keep getting better. We keep getting players and Mike, and I'm looking at these Aaron Rodgers numbers of last year compared to C.J. Stroud. Let's say, for an example, who was a top 10 quarterback in the league. Now, Aaron Rodgers last season, Mike, had 3,897 yards. C.J. Stroud, 3,227. So 170 more yards for Aaron Rodgers than C.J. Stroud last season. Aaron Rodgers had 28 touchdowns compared to Stroud's 20. Aaron Rodgers had 11 interceptions compared to Stroud's 12. And Stroud just about a 1 point better than Rodgers on QB rating, 49.8 to 48. Mike, again, C.J. Stroud is considered a top 10 quarterback in this league. And at the end of the day, people are going to say, you know what, this team is a team that's going to be battling for the Super Bowl every season with this particular quarterback. So with this language and this vernacular and these thoughts being pounded into my head, I'm starting to think, you know what, this could be a run, guys. If the Steelers, as I said, Mike, if you nail those two positions down with one more good player at each of them, and as I said, it could even be Amari Cooper or somebody. It doesn't have to be McLaurin. McLaurin will be fantastic. I mean, that would be best case scenario.
That would be awesome, but I think that might be too much of a pipe dream. But oh my god!
But those are my two pipe dreams, Mike: Jalen Ramsey and Terry McLaurin. If we get them guys, you know what, I this next month and how many days couldn't go fast enough.
Right,
I'll be ready to go like right now.
Oh, it would be epic if you can get those two. Even if I think Jalen Ramsey could be had. It's just what. I think Miami might be asking too much. I think they're probably going to want like a second or third for him, just because how much he still has left on that contract, how much he still has left in the bag. He had a pretty good year last year, so he would be tough to get. Now, if he had like just a slight down year, it'd been a whole lot easier to get. But I would love to have him because now, he can play inside corner. He can still play at the outside as well, and him, Slay, Porter, Eccles, Beanie Bishop, Corey Trice.
Hopefully, forget about Eccles too.
Yeah, like Eccles is the forgotten man in that group because, like, if you get Jalen Ramsey now, your inside nickel slot nickel corner is locked down.
And Mike, you got to have a great secondary in this NFL. You can't have a so secondary in this passing league. It is what it is now. It's not a league of linebackers because you want to stop the run. Linebackers are smaller, faster, they're able to cover more. So if you get your secondary, like I said, Jalen Ramsey goes a long way, Mike. And as we were saying the other day, he's getting up a little bit in age, but he's not old. I think, what did you say, 30 years old, give or take?
I think he just turned 30, or it'll be 31 by the end of the year.
Here we are, a team taking a chance on a 47-year-old, whatever the hell Aaron Rodgers is, and we're going to, not consider Jalen Ramsey. I think that would be crazy.
Because if you would get him, your secondary would be Slay, Elliot, Minka, Porter, Thornhill, Eccles, Jalen Ramsey, Beanie Bishop, Miles Killebrew for special teams. Then you got Corey Trice. What can he bring? Can he stay healthy? Sebastian Castro. I know they picked him as an undrafted free agent. They're high on him. Dante Kent, their 7th round pick, they're high on too. So they're addressing the secondary. But if you get someone like Jalen Ramsey and he's signed for the next couple years, I would try it. Now I'm not giving up a 1st or a 2nd for him, but a 3rd, maybe I'd listen.
All right, let's get back to some of these messages, Mike. They are taking off. Back to the board we go. Tortilla says he took a pay cut to stay. Might as well pay him and have one less hole next year. I do. I really like this Deshon Elliott's signing. I think again he's solid. He's shown me no reason to not like him. KZ was similar, but he had holes in his game, and where Elliot doesn't. I'm satisfied with this. Again, maybe now the defense is going to be able to do things that the defense wants to do, opposed to things that the defense needs to do week in, week out to just stay in these games, with the quarterback. So hopefully, again, Mike, the best defense is a good offense. We'll see if that plays a role. Yinzer Joe says Elliot was probably tired of bouncing from team to team, got a good deal, and he's now in a stable position. I'm sure he was ready to settle down. I'm too, and I'm happy about it.
And I think also, too, he was like a lifelong Steeler fan, too. Like, grew up a Steeler fan. There's like pictures circling around of like him in Steeler uniforms when he was younger and stuff. Yeah. But I think he bleeds black and gold.
Mark Malone says, just think about all the talent Tomlin flushed down the shitter. It's certainly it's a point. Yinzer Joe, but the coaches have had a losing season, even if they've had more playoff wins. Tomlin is at least consistent in winning. Yeah, but the ones that count, though, you know what I mean? I mean, the 500 record is literally nothing. That means nothing. You could have 500 records and not make the playoffs. So what good is that? But I don't totally disagree with you. Let's move on. Tortilla says, hell, if we can sign them cheap, I'll take Alexander. I'll take Amari Cooper. I know Alexander has injuries every year, but it wouldn't hurt to have an extra top DB for even a few games if it's cheap.
Yeah, if you can get Jair Alexander cheap, I'd roll the dice.
Is he all that, Mike? That's all I keep hearing is Jameer Alexander. I don't really know that I recognized him as being great, but
he was a damn good corner, but then like injuries kept popping up. He's somebody you wouldn't sign for big money, but if you can get him like on the cheap, you take a flyer on him. But at what cost? Because if he's going to only play like 7 games like he has, I think the past 2 years, like 7 this year, 7 the previous year.
We don't really need any more of that. I'd like to keep the injury bug as far away from our locker room as possible.
Now if I can guarantee that he's going to play all 17 games, yeah, but you got to roll the dice. I'd much rather take the chance with Corey Trice than him, but I'd much rather take a chance with Jalen Ramsey over both of those two. But I see where you're coming from.
Mark Malone, I think they'll know after all the guys on offense get back from Malibu. Rodgers will know if they need a guy to add.
That's true. Like if he can work with Calvin Austin and Roman Wilson. No,
Vegas says Aaron was third in deep passers outside of the numbers. Hey, but he doesn't have the rainbow ball, does he?
He does not have the moon ball. He got the ayahuasca ball.
Richard, what's up to you on the board? It's always great seeing you and Vegas alike. Richard says every year is a must-win for the Steelers. Every year is a must-win the Super Bowl season for the Steelers. I agree. We want them the most, of course, tied with New England, but nobody's done it better than we have. So we'll take those 6 successful seasons anytime. Corey says, and I know Cooper has an attitude. He has attitude issues, but I'm not sure they're as bad as Pickens or AB. I'd be mad if I played for the Browns and the Raiders too. You're right.
Yeah, like he would never really. I think like when the Browns started to suck, that's when he would start to pop off. Because wouldn't you?
I do recall some dummy things that he did when he pushed the cameraman and things like that. We don't need that though. We don't need those issues. Again, I would love to stay away from drama and injuries at all costs with this football team for 1 year at least to see what we could do. Yinzer Joe says Josh Allen was MVP. Look at his stats compared to Rodgers. Yinzer Joe he's my perfect devil's advocate. He really is. Every point that I make, he always finds a good counterpoint. And I'm not going to say I don't like it. I like it. I think that Yinzer Joe always has great comments on the board.
Yeah.
But on this one, he says, look at his numbers. But on the other hand, was Allen in the Super Bowl? Tortilla Jackson at Corey. You don't think we can get him at slightly under Garrett's contract, like 37, 38 million? I think it's unlikely, but not completely out of the question. Well, any way you slice it, listen. He's up against not only Myles Garrett, but Micah Parsons is going to probably be the highest paid defender before you know it in the NFL history. And then you guys got guys like Max Crosby and Trey Hendrickson. TJ's going to get his money.
Yeah.
They're not going to not pay this guy.
Yeah.
Look at everybody out there. Trey's trying to get his money. Myles just got all of his money. Again, Micah Parsons probably going to be the highest paid defender. I just find it extremely difficult to believe the Pittsburgh Steelers, who've just been gaga over this guy for as many seasons as he's been here, isn't going to pay him. Like, I think it's a game of cat and mouse. It's the business part of it.
Yeah.
And he gets this all taken care of, and he'll be back.
Yeah, it's going to drag out, but I don't think it's going to be a negative thing. I hope not.
Not his first rodeo, Mike. We've seen this with him time and time before. And what happened last time he signed his contract? What happened that season?
No, he had the best season of all time.
Yeah, so
22 and a half sacks, tied for first.
So hopefully we get another season like that out of him.
Hopefully, but we only saw it once after that year because he was injured the following year. He had 19 the next year when he lost to the participation trophy winner, and he should have won it then. But then after that, hasn't been as consistent. Hopefully, he gets his money, makes more than Myles Garrett, and then he'll be happy and will be consistently producing. And hopefully, the offense, won't tire them out every drive, and he'll be out there to be fresh late in the game. We'll see. It's going to get worked out. It's just how are they going to make the numbers work?
Yinzer Joe, Jair Alexander would be another Dante Jackson situation, which Dante Jackson wasn't a bad situation.
Nah,
I could fly with that. Yeah. I thought he did rather well. He was probably one of the better players who played that position for quite a few seasons for us. But again, the injuries, and I would love to stay away from that injury bug. It's so contagious in the NFL, and we could not stay away from it for nothing for the past 3 or 4 years. If we could go through a season that they would consider relatively healthy, I would be thrilled to death with that. And then also, if we could have a season where we don't have any kind of bullshit drama going on in the locker room, you take those two things out. Now I want to see what kind of team we have, what type of team we have. I want to see how we perform and play without all that bullshit. I think we run up there with some of the best of them, at least.
And the thing is, too, like, if he might be injury prone, if we're not counting on him to be a guy, the starter, but a nice rotational piece, then that's a conversation I'm willing to have to bring him in. Like, okay, we know he's going to be a rotational piece. He's not going to be out there depending on him snap after snap to where if he does go down, it's devastating. But it's like if he goes down, okay, we have someone who can come in and take his place, and we kind of planned on this. I don't know if we have that luxury, roster construction wise, but if we did, that's a good gamble to do. Or if they think they have the depth to do it to where we can bring him in. If he goes down, we'll be fine. Whoever we have next man up, blah blah blah, will be good. But if not, I might steer away from him.
Tortilla says Trice has injury issues as well, and I love me some Corey Trice. I loved him since
you
the
can
draft.
see it.
I loved his size. Excuse me. And his size is comparable and his build's comparable to Joey Porter. And, that's the kind of corner that you like to see nowadays, those tall, lengthy guys. In Corey Trice, Mike, he was out his whole entire rookie season with injury. I couldn't wait to see him out there. And I wasn't disappointed. I think he had an interception early on in that little return in the end zone. And I just think that he's
banged up.
He could be such a nice piece to that puzzle. It said again, consider you already have your starting corners and you already have other pieces in place as far as that. I love him coming off the bench, adding, his size and things like that. He's a nice player off the bench. Corey Trice always been one of my favorite. I hope that he could get through this uninjured, Mike.
Yeah, and you can see the potential there with him. That last game when he was lined up against Jamar Chase, Jamar Chase got his catches and touchdowns on him, but watch it. Trice was running there with him, like stride for stride in his hip, but Jamar Chase is just that good. He made him look so silly. But so you can see why they like him, because some little refinement, he could have been shutting him down. Jamar Chase is another word, but he played really well.
Yinzer Joe, okay, Ryan, both quarterbacks in Super Bowl had worse numbers than Aaron Rodgers. So there you go, guys. Tortilla. Thing is, we didn't have Slay and Jackson last year. Having Slay and Alexander would give us more rotations and keep players healthy. Yeah, for sure. Also, Tortilla follows it up by saying that's a better way of saying what I'm trying to say. Thank you, Mike.
Welcome.
John, my man, Big John Stud, middle name Mud. What's up, my brother? Hope everything's going well for you out in the Vegas area. Always great seeing you on the board, my friend. John says Rodgers was also 29th in yards per pass attempt last year. There's a reason no one wanted him, just like Wilson and Fields last year. That's a valid point. So Corey says definitely don't want more injury juju. We already lost a tight end for the year. Don't tempt fate.
Hey, we have 99 more tight ends.
if we could afford to lose somebody at any position, it's tight end.
They go down. We have 5 more ready to go. It's like the Hydra. You cut their head off. There's another one ready to go.
So this is the one that I couldn't wait to get into.
Uh-oh.
This is from our offensive coordinator.
Oh, God.
Arthur Smith says, the goal in Pittsburgh is for the offense to be the best in the NFL. We don't want to be 3 yards in a cloud of dust. You want to be explosive. You want to be the best offense in the league, and that is your goal. I like the mindset. Mike, do you think that Arthur Smith could make these people on this football team believe that they're that? Because sometimes when you believe something, you go out and you get it done. You have that confidence.
Yeah, you can do it.
I mean, I'm not saying best offense in the league. Come on, that's kind of a stretch, I think, obviously. Yeah. But to have a major improvement is kind of what I'm taking from this. Do you think that again? Does Arthur Smith have it? He brought together that Tennessee Titans team a couple years back. That was impressive.
Yeah.
But there's been many things that's been unimpressive about his career as well. So that's why I don't know about him.
Yeah, you look at the offense that he ran in Atlanta. He had Bijan Robinson, and sometimes you would go away from him. He might be one of the best young backs in the league. Drake London, who underutilized him. Everyone thought they underutilized the tight end. I always forget his name. But that tight end might just not be that good, Kyle Pitts. So he has a mixed bag, a very mixed bag. But, he made Ryan Tannehill look like competent top 10 quarterback. Yes, you had Derrick Henry. Yes, you had Derrick Henry. I think you had a young AJ Brown there as well. So you got to look some of the talent around him. Make Jonnu Smith look pretty good down there too. So on one hand, I want to say, hell yeah. On the other hand, I want to pump the brakes and go, well, look at X, Y, and Z. If we're going to look at ABC, let's look at the other end of the spectrum here. So I don't know. And Arthur Smith doesn't, you look at Arthur Smith, you don't feel like you're going to run through a wall for him, but you're not in there day in, day out with him. You're not in there hearing what he's saying. His vision for the offense is he does. Unfortunately, he does. Like, you don't want to bring the kids around him.
Yeah, he's like the guy that shows up with the pizza and condoms. That's what I get when I look at that mustache.
Yeah. That's why I don't have a mustache, by the way. But no, you don't know like how he deals with people. That
you think it would make you a pedophile?
No. God, no. Shut up. I lost my train of thought. But no, I don't know. I like to hope and believe that he can convince these guys that, hey, you can be the best offense in the league, which I think is going to be hard because I'm looking at the one down in Washington. It was pretty good fucking offense right there. But if this can be a top 10 like a borderline top 10 offense, that's more than enough with a defense that was top 10 last year in points against, which should be even better if the offense is top 10 because we're going to be out there less. It can happen, but what Aaron Rodgers are we getting? Are we getting dink and dunk Aaron Rodgers? Are we getting quick throws, not letting plays develop Aaron Rodgers? Or are we getting an Aaron Rodgers who Achilles is finally healed, who's going to be comfortable back there, going to have a potentially better O-line than he had in New York, even just a better run organization than he had in New York. You just don't know. There's so many factors going against that offense. It's hard to say where they can go. For me, it can be anywhere from like 26th in the league to like top 10 in the league. It's just all good. There's so many factors going in. I don't think we're going to get any indication until like halfway through week 1.
Corey says, well, if the injury bug mistakes DK for a tight end, then we're fucked. Yeah,
that's true.
That's why I think we just need another wide receiver so bad. What if he blows a knee? I mean, that's any given play in the NFL.
For someone who's never been hurt.
And especially with these hamstring injuries anymore, taking months for people to heal. I've never seen anything like it. Mark Malone, this offense is going to blow your minds. I hope you're right, man. I hope that this time next year, I'm talking about how right Mark Malone has been all along. I really am.
Yeah, and it's going to come down to that O-line, because if we can get that run game going, that's going to open up that passing game even more.
Tortilla at Yinzer Joe, I'm only saying if we can get him cheap, if he's willing to come for cheap, I don't see an issue. If he gets injured, he's already not playing for us now. What's the difference?
Exactly.
Kenneth, what's up, my man? Always great seeing you, brother. Hope you're having a great week so far. Mark Malone says, I can't believe you're not growing a skullet, Mike. I know, Mike. That's really disappointing.
It's so fucking hot. I can't grow a skullet.
Come on.
I tried. I like freaked out. I freaked out. It was disgusting.
John says if Tomlin doesn't change his approach and take the handcuffs off, there will be no mind blowing. Time will tell. Yinzer Joe, is there a mustache competition going on in Pittsburgh we don't know about? I mean, I've seen players and some coaches sporting them.
Hey, they're making a comeback ever since Paul Skeen
movement in the mustaches.
Ever since Paul Skeen rocked that mustache, everyone's like, I'm going to rock it and get me a Livy done.
We have all these guys that are very they're aging, and a lot of guys with the mustache. I don't know if that all comes together, but there you go.
And if you want to be a coach in Pittsburgh, you got to be bald.
John says Mike is correct. Rodgers must feel comfortable with the offensive line. That is their best chance to do well, and that's a big part of it. This offensive line has to come along this year. Those two guys in the middle, they have to have a good sophomore season. Broderick Jones got to get his head out of his ass. I'm confident that Ciamalo is going to do what it is Ciamalo does, and then we got to see again. This is Troy Fatano's rookie season, basically. Yeah. So you know what that sets. That's a lot, Mike. You got talent in the backfield. You got talent on the edge. With your receivers, you got talented linebackers. Tight ends. I'm sorry. You made a move at quarterback. So that offensive line is certainly key in this whole thing, Mike. If they could come out and have what you would consider a good season, that's best case scenario for us. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Yeah, very young, and this is how we've been drafting. This is what
that's the plan, and it's a good plan. But can the pieces fulfill their end of the bargain now? Can the players live up to the potential that they had? And it feels like we're beating a dead horse here, but it all comes down to that O-line for the offense, and it's going to come down to that D-line for the defense as well. That's why they invested heavily the last 2 years in both spots.
Mark Malone says, I'm looking like a full-blown hippie over here, just waiting to go bald.
Then you're not going to go bald. You have the plan in place. Your hair follicles are going to fight the good fight.
A couple things I want to get into. Aaron Rodgers' influence on a few things here, Mike, I want to talk about. One thing I was reading over the past couple of days, Aaron Rodgers will adapt to Arthur Smith's scheme. He's not going to look for special treatment. He's kind of decided I'm going to work, and I don't know if I like this.
I don't like this. I don't like this Aaron Rodgers right now.
I want Aaron Rodgers that's been there. I want the guy that's been there. I want the guy that's had multiple MVPs. I want the guy that's won a Super Bowl. Again, I understand the Arthur Smith is the offensive coordinator, but I want as much influence from Aaron Rodgers in this particular season. Listen, I don't want him, totally goofing things over and getting our coaches fired, whatever. It's got to stay within the confines of the job, but I want to know I want to pick that guy's brain. If anything, you would take advantage of that. I would think of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and they said that too. Both him and Arthur Smith said, giving each other plays back and forth and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But I think he's willing to, like, okay, whatever game plan he comes up with, all right, cool, we'll run with that. I'll give my input to it, but I'm not going to try and be that dictator. And we saw how that worked in New York, and it didn't work out well there. So maybe he learned to, like, okay, I'm going to let the coach, and I'm going to play.
I think the best case scenario for this team is if those two guys work together like this, Mike.
Yeah,
They've been in
I like
contact
it.
off season before the signing. They kept in contact. They're
Mhm.
on the phone now talking about strategy, schemes, game plans,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That is the best case scenario, I think. Neither one of these guys trying to take the pedestal, I think, is a bad thing. But if you got both these guys working together, Mike, putting their heads
Mhm.
together, again, Arthur Smith was able to put some good teams on the football field.
Yeah.
Put that with, again, what Aaron Rodgers knows, has been through. Yes, he's not the youngest guy, and that's one of my bigger arguments. But it is what we have, and it is what it is. So they have to work together to make the best case scenario for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so far, that's the way that it's seeming. That's the way that it's seeming.
Yeah, and he also has like a good relationship with the quarterback coach too. Their careers cross path in Green Bay. I want to say it was Aaron Rodgers' rookie year, so he has familiarity there too with the other coach that he'll be working closely with as well. So that's good. It's right now everything is hunky dory. We'll see how long it lasts. I hope it lasts because everyone's doing the right thing. They're putting the team first and setting ego aside.
Kenneth says
What up?
Elliot was a great signing. I would pay TJ 35 to 38, take it or leave it. We have you 2 more years anyway. He deserves money, but time to balance the money on both sides of the ball. Absolutely. We gotta have more
start
balance.
shifting back to the offense side. Yeah.
But he's gonna sign. There's not a doubt in my mind that TJ Watt won't be playing in week 1.
Yeah.
Again, there's just other names out there right now that he's trying to compete with for the money, and these are big time names, Mike. I mean, come on.
Excuse me.
Myles Garrett, Max Crosby,
Mhm.
the guy in Dallas. Why I can never remember his name.
Micah Parsons.
Trey Hendrickson. So I mean, it's just a matter of time. I think with him, they got to figure out all the details. But I think they're going to get it. I have no worries about him not being ready week 1. I just don't. We've seen this so many times. We've seen it with him. And again, as we said earlier in the show, if he does have the same kind of season he had during the last contract year. He managed to get 22.5 sacks. So if we could get something that resembles that kind of season, that would be fantastic.
But the one thing I'm worried about is, okay, we want to start moving guys around on defense, lining TJ up in different spots, and he starts missing time. And then he's going to come and go, oh, well, they want me to move around, but I'm not comfortable yet. I haven't learned all that stuff yet. That's what I'm worried about. Is he going to try and pull that? If he doesn't show up to camp, or is he going to do what he did last time? Show up to camp, work out on the side, still go to the team meetings and stuff like that.
If he does that,
that's going to be good.
Expected from TJ Watt.
That's what I expect. But this one, I have a feeling this one might be a different negotiation than last time. But also a good positive is if he's going to miss practice time, guess what? That gives more time for Herbig, more time for Jack Sawyer to go out there and get acclimated to the defense. And I like it. Those guys having more reps. Herbig coming into year 3. I want to see him take a big step up because he has the potential. And I want to see what Jack Sawyer has.
Mark Malone says, I think Rodgers wasn't afraid to call out the BS in New York. And that's the thing. Rodgers knows that he's in a better organization, and this isn't the Jets. And hopefully, things play out well, Mike. Let's continue on the board. Kenneth says Elliot was a great signing. Okay, we got that one.
Yeah.
Yinzer Joe says Rodgers said he was familiar
with most
of the scheme concepts because Smith and LaFleur work the same. Just some terminology was different. So, again, all kind of good things that we could certainly consider moving forward into this season, in a season that I don't know if people really know what to expect. This Aaron Rodgers thing is the story. It's the storyline. This is what people are going to be talking about all season long. It could very well turn into the Aaron Rodgers farewell tour.
Right,
real quick.
Yeah.
Mike, and then finally, the last thing that I read this morning was Aaron Rodgers, how he persuaded the situation with George Pickens. Get this. Reports indicate that the Pittsburgh Steelers considered Aaron Rodgers a rival when deciding to trade receiver George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys. The Steelers were reportedly concerned about a potential clash between Rodgers' leadership style and
Ooh.
Pickens' maturity level, which had been a source of concern within the organization.
Wow. Huh.
So that's interesting.
That's interesting. But you know what? I'm still okay with how everything played out. You know, we saw the good and the bad with George, and I just don't see him growing up anytime soon.
You know, and he's on a
I
Dallas.
hope
He
I'm
kind
wrong.
of
I
belong.
hope
He
I'm
kind
wrong.
of belongs in Dallas. That's where a lot of
Yeah.
the BS goes on. And again, one trip to the NFC Championship, or they haven't been in the NFC Championship game in 3 decades almost. It's just they love the bullshit down there. They do,
Yeah.
and he fits in. He fits in Dallas. Again, I would love to see George Pickens on one side, DK Metcalf on the
Mm-hmm.
other side.
Yeah.
But Mike, again, I'm okay with the way that it
Yeah.
went. Let's continue to search. Maybe we
Yeah.
could bring in another big name, but he
Yeah,
fits.
He fits down there. Yeah. I just don't think CD Lamb's going to take any of his nonsense either. He doesn't seem like a no nonsense kind of guy. But, building the team, that's one thing you have to worry about too is personalities. This isn't Madden. You can't just collect all the good players and put them out there and everything's going to be all hunky dory. It's personalities. And
That's second time with this hunky dory. What is this hunky
I
dory?
know, right? I feel like an old man today. I'm just saying hunky dory. I'm training new people at work. They're all like 20
Do you
years
say
younger
that?
than me.
Do you say they're 20 years younger than you?
Yeah.
And you say hunky dory?
I don't say hunky dory at work.
Stop that. Don't do that. Don't do
No,
that.
no, I'm not doing that at work. No. I say cringe stuff. I use the Gen Z slang on
You say
them all.
cringe stuff.
Yeah. I go, man, don't be hating because I got that skibbity riz and shit like that. And they always like, oh
yeah.
It's like keep it bussing, fam.
Mm.
I've become that guy at work. It's now on
yeah.
the show. I just started saying hunky dory today.
And where did that come from? That has nothing to do with what you're even saying.
I don't know. I don't know. It's hot. My brain's frying.
It is hot, man.
And that's just you, man. That's just your hotness radiating throughout the show.
I'm looking at your screen right now. I'm like your box. It says 76 degrees, which doesn't seem hot, but it gets hot here in Pittsburgh.
It's the humidity, man.
It's the humidity. Absolutely, man. So there you go, Mike. Aaron Rodgers is adapting. He's so the influence is there, whether it be just this 1 year, whether he manages to play another year. He's a big part of this football team. He's the captain. He's the quarterback, and that's the way that it's going to be, whether we like it, whether we don't like it. At this point, Mike, and as I said all along, I will cheer for him and I will root for him if he is in fact our quarterback. This is my squad. It's what I do. And I've definitely cheered for guys that I liked a lot less than Aaron Rodgers over the years.
Same.
So, I'm ready. Mike, here we go again. Today is the 18th of June, July 23rd. They start showing up in Latrobe to start camp. So just over a month, guys. They do that for a couple weeks, and then they are into 3 preseason games. And then it's go time. So again, I can't complain at how fast this offseason went, man.
Oh, me either. And I thought it was going to be a long slog, but it's flown by. I can't wait for the games to start playing, man. I just can't wait.
We do get the passion to hold us over for a couple more weeks because they have the playoffs. The gals here in town, they're holding down the fort until the guys get ready.
Mm-hmm.
But there ain't nothing quite like Steeler football.
No, there is not. It's like, you know the good times are about to roll once they report the training camp.
What do you think the potential is of the Steelers grabbing another person at one of those 2 positions? Again, I mean, we're not in dire need, but I would sure love to see somebody of talent come along at one or both of those spots, Mike, the wide receiver position. And I don't want to go out and get another Robert Woods. It's got to be somebody worth our while.
Yeah.
But those would be 2 nice pickups again, and then you're seriously considering this team is a contender. I think you have to at that point, Mike, would have to say, because again, Pittsburgh and Baltimore games, they're always close. They're always close, always good games. Now we have a good team back on the field, so that's going to start to come back. I think as far as because we didn't look that great against them last year. We could have potentially lost all 3 of those games if it wasn't for Tucker having an uncharacteristic day kicking. But I think this team is starting to feel like, we could start talking about this team being having a playoff run in them.
Yeah.
Again, in the past, Mike, we were happy to win 1 playoff game. If we could get a guy that could win 1 playoff game, look how things are turning. This team is starting to look
Yeah.
better, and it was not what I was expecting this
No,
particular offseason.
no, I thought this offseason was like, all right, we're gonna, start planning for the future. But I think the front office decided the future's now. We might as well get a jump start on it. We've been building a team for a while now. Let's do it. And if I think if we end up getting another receiver, I look for after cutdown day or sometime in the middle of training camp when teams around the league start looking at everyone else's, like who's doing well in training camp, what young player is rising up depth charts that's going to force a veteran down to where, oh, hey, we can move on from him and his salary that all of a sudden is going to become available. That I'm looking like halfway through training camp or right after cutdown day, getting a receiver and corner. People might be saying it's too late, but that's, when the next big wave of guys becoming available is going to start, is halfway through training camp and cutdown day.
Yeah. Well, again,
I just hope like Jalen Ramsey just doesn't decide to show up to Miami, starts holding out, forces his way out, and then we can get him and he'll be happy to come here.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's the excitement, the expectations, just thinking this as well. I mean, we could potentially get better. We could potentially add pieces that's going to make this team better. And that's part of the excitement for me as well, because you don't know. You wake up every day and, we could grab somebody. We could grab one of these names. And again, you added Jalen Ramsey or, somebody of this caliber. You're then talking about this team being a team in contention again. And that's what I think people are really craving in Pittsburgh. We kind of got used to saying, you know what, is if we could get a guy to win us a playoff game. But now, again, Mike, or maybe I'm crazy. Maybe we're going to go out and it's going to go exactly how it's been going because
right, it's just the way it is.
This is the team and the coach and the system, and it is what it is. And I hope that's not the case, but gives us a little bit to speculate in the off season and think about and hope for. And again, we were 10-7 last year with what we had.
Yeah,
so
and we
considering the additions and things that we did to make this team improve, you'd think that we should be that much better.
We should, and I hate to keep beating this drum, but we were the number 2 seed. We were playing at a high level.
We were one game out of the number 1 seed, Mike.
Yeah, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, this is the team you don't want to play in the playoffs if they started right now." Well, I kind of wish they did start right now at that point back then. But yeah, this team has the potential to play much better than we've seen. It's just, can they do it? Can the coaches get out of their own way? Can the players get out of their own way? Sometimes you see those mental mistakes that they've been making, and just a little bit better quarterback play is going to go a long way.
Mike, why don't you go and tell everybody about the website?
The2dumbyinzers.com. Don't forget, we have all of our social media links over there. We got the merch store over there. We got the dumb thoughts over there, which should have a new one up by the end of this week, since the Stanley Cup's over. I'll have some thoughts about that, some preseason Steeler thoughts up there, maybe even a basketball thought up there. So check it out at the2dumbyinzers.com.
Go check it out, everybody. www.the2dumbyinzers.com. That's www.the2dumbyinzers.com. Mike, today is going to be a Steeler trivia question. I think we're going to stick with that theme unless the Pirates do something amazing or something happens in the meantime. Everybody's, they're itching. They're getting ready for this Pittsburgh Steeler football season. We're just a little over a month away from Latrobe. Mike, so today's going to be no different. We are going to go with a Pittsburgh Steeler question. Mike, put on your thinking caps. Everybody on the board, everybody at home. Here we go for question of the day. Here we go. This player was on the receiving end of a Ben Roethlisberger pass that was the longest offensive play in team history. This player was on the receiving end of a Ben Roethlisberger pass that is the longest offensive play in team history. Take a minute to think that over. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on YouTube. All right, guys, question of the day. This player was on the receiving end of a Ben Roethlisberger pass that has become the longest offensive play in team history. Mike, any thoughts? Any, that it's happened in the past 20 some years. It's not.
I'm gonna get Juju.
Juju?
Juju Smith-Schuster.
Is that your final answer?
My final answer.
All right, because there were some long ones. There's about 3 long plays that it could really be any of these
I know.
guys.
I
All
know.
right.
I'm
Okay.
going with my boy Juju.
All right, Juju, you lock you in? Final answer?
Lock me in, baby.
All right, you're locked in, Mike. This player was on the receiving end of a Ben Roethlisberger pass that is the longest offensive play in team history. Mike, we'll hang out just for a minute before we reveal the answer, in case anybody wants to throw it up on the board as well. I will say that it was not Mike Wallace's 95-yard touchdown reception from Big Ben. It was not that. So Mike says Juju. Other long plays, Mike, in the Steeler history, the 80-yard run by Cordell Stewart against Carolina, Willie Parker's 75-yard run in Super Bowl 40, James Harrison's 100-yard touchdown interception return in Super Bowl 43. But the question of the day is this, guys. This player was on the receiving end of a Ben Roethlisberger pass that is now the longest offensive play in team history. On the board, Richard saying Brown. Mark Malone says was the Juicer. Yinzer Joe, 97 yards to Juju twice. So you do got some people agreeing with you, Mike. So
yeah, I think it really is Juju, because I know Mark Malone had one of like the longest plays. And I think Juju, because it was a pass play, he caught a long.
Yeah, he was a receiver.
He caught that, and I think it was Juju who finally broke it.
Mike, the one more time, let me read the question. This player was on the receiving end of a Ben Roethlisberger pass that is now the longest offensive play in team history. It was a 97-yard play in 2017 by no one other than Juju Smith-Schuster, guys. Absolutely correct. These guys nailed it. Great job.
I think it was against Detroit?
I don't remember.
I just remember because he was not a burner and he was just running away from guys on that touchdown run.
I just seen the Cordell Stewart run yesterday. They were showing because it was National Mascots Day.
Uh-huh.
And it was that game where the Panther leaned into the end zone. Yeah, Sir Purr. He leaned into the end zone and touched the ball as it was still in play.
Yeah.
In the very next play was Cordell Stewart's 80-yard run. They brought it out to the 20 on the touchback, and Cordell took it 80 yards, right up the middle, dropped back, and then just took off. Defense tried to catch him. He just, like the Red Sea.
Gone.
Man. So there you go, guys. It is Juju has the longest catch reception in team history for the Steelers. A couple of things going into the 4th of July time of year, Mike, of course, a couple weeks away, still here. But Joey Chestnut, the 16-time champion of the hot dog eating contest, Mike, at Coney Island on July 4th, the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Mike, Joey Chestnut making a comeback finally. He was gone for a while. I didn't know what the issue was, but Joey Chestnut back in the competition, Mike.
It's awesome. The Throat Goat apparently is his nickname. It's what I heard on the radio.
Hey, no better name than the Throat Goat for that guy.
Yeah, I always thought Nancy Reagan was the Throat Goat, but apparently it's Joey Chestnut.
In other news, Mike, in the WWE, Liv Morgan separates her shoulder on Raw the other night. My favorite wrestler, certainly my favorite female wrestler, Liv Morgan. She separates her shoulder. I seen it. It didn't even look that bad.
No, it probably hurt like a mofo, though.
Yeah, you could tell that it did.
Yeah. And Kari Zane broke her shoulder.
Yeah. Also, Mike, did you see this guy, this lone survivor in that plane crash in India?
No,
A plane crashed. All the people that was in a commercial flight, they all died except for one guy.
No shit. See, I thought last I heard everyone died. No shit.
Yeah. How do you manage? He says he goes, it was the crash. He goes, I opened my eyes and I was still alive.
Was he sleeping?
I don't know. But that's crazy. I mean,
you got to have
everybody dies. That means, the impact killed everybody.
Yeah.
Why it didn't kill this guy? It's mind blowing.
I am him. I'm going to play the lottery right away. See if I got any luck left, baby. That's nuts. Because you got to be everything had to go your way to live.
Right. And finally, Mike, did you see the guy that sat on the Van Gogh chair in that Italian museum?
Yeah, with all those Sarkozy whatever diamonds on them and
Well,
stuff.
my thing is this: it wasn't a Van Gogh piece of art. Somebody made it because of
Yeah, it's called the Van Gogh
picture.
chair. Yeah,
Right. So for one, it's misleading because at first I thought he sat on Van Gogh's chair and broke it. That's
yeah.
bad. That's terrible. But and another thing, if you don't want anybody sitting on that, why didn't they have it blocked off? It was totally just out to sit on, and somebody sees a chair. I don't think that it's that odd that somebody sat on it. The fact that he was doing it to take a picture. Again, I just found the whole situation weird, Mike. Why are you even able to sit on it? That shouldn't even be a thing.
Like what? Yeah, like rope it off.
It wasn't even
Because
rope.
because some jackass is gonna try and sit in it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they try to run and get away. Like they don't have cameras in these kind of museums.
Exactly. They know you did it. Just stand there and take your punishment.
I sat on a chair. You know what I mean? Come on, your defense is it's reasonable. I saw a chair, I sat down on it. I mean, come on, it wasn't roped off. If there was no signs that said don't sit on it, I might have sat on it.
Yeah.
Kenneth says he jumped out of an emergency door before. Is that what happened?
Oh,
that's what my buddy told me, and I didn't see that.
That's a 3,000 IQ play right there.
But I mean, come on. I mean, jumping out of the door of an airplane as it's screaming down to the earth, I think would be I don't know.
Because it was having trouble taking off. If I remember, if it's the same plane that I saw that was struggling to take off, so it wasn't that high up. Wasn't
going that everybody. Fast.
Yeah,
I mean, it was high enough to kill everybody, and he jumped out of a plane. I don't know, Mike. I mean, come on.
I'd rather take my chances in the plane, but you know what?
Let's go out on the deck of the back of the studio. It's only 15 foot, and let's see you jump off of that. You see what I'm saying?
God, no.
No matter how high and the speed in the terror that's happening, and
do I look like Jeff Hardy to you? No,
but that's what I'm saying. It's no matter when he would have jumped out, if it would have been crazy.
Yeah, nuts.
So there you go. Mike, what do I want to do? I don't know what I want to do. Okay, I'll talk about it. I was debating on whether I should talk about this. I am a sucker for Honey Boo Boo. Did you ever see that little fat girl, Honey Boo Boo? Well, she's grown up now. And I just came across it. And I started watching it last night. I love Honey Boo Boo. I don't know what it is about these people. They've changed. Money's changed them. They used to be trailer park, just garbage. But now they're like, they try to act high class and they dress nice. And even the mom, who was like 600 pounds, she's looking decent now. And it's not the same. I liked them when they was slobby and fat.
It's where you can my life may be in the gutter, but I'm better than them.
Yeah.
Now they got money.
And they're arguing about money. Like that was the whole thing last night.
I hope they lose all their money.
I'm sure they will. Give it time. That Mama June, she blows money like I've never seen.
That's right. That was her name, Mama June.
And she not only she's skinnier. I mean, the thing is, she's a big bone chick, so she's still big. But she's now dating a dude that's like half her age, and like I said, it has that vibe. Now I liked them when they were just
they're trailer park trash,
right? Yeah. That was when they were good. And Mama June was farting and burping and doing an interview, and she would just fart like that. That's funny to me.
It's just ugh.
Now she's like all made up and got a boy. It's I don't know. It's weird. No. And Honey Boo Boo, she's graduated and so she's older. So the whole thing. I
kind of feel sorry for the kid. Any kid that has to go through a reality show, I feel bad for because you didn't choose to do that. You know what's your parents telling you to do on the show, how to act. Well, that's going to affect you the rest of your life. So I kind of feel bad for the kid, but Mama June could bump off down the road. I
like Mama June. Kenneth says now they're trailer with cable TV and rims. That's about it too. And the mom had her hair dyed. I just like the old where they were all in that tiny little house and they were fighting and farting and burping and it was just I don't know, it was fun. But that's about everything that I got for today, man. Anything before we do start getting ready to wrap it up?
The only thing I have is reports came out that this potentially will be if Kenny Malkin's last season as a Pittsburgh Penguin.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's time to move on. You can't keep the old guys around forever in perpetuity until they retire. It's you gotta move on at some point here.
Yeah.
It's gonna suck to see him go because he's been around forever, fan favorite. But that's sports.
Because you
man.
figure he came in the year right before Sid.
Yeah.
And Sid's going to be 38, 39.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's about time for Malkin. And
Yeah.
if any of those guys retire, I think he'd be the one that I'm cool with. I want to see Crosby for a few more years at least.
I do too. Yeah, Crosby's just playing at that high level. Geno, like he'll he's getting. You can tell the injuries have caught up to him. He's not the player he once was, and his game is hard to adapt to play as long and as well as Crosby's game is.
For sure. I do want to say thank you to everybody for coming and hanging out and checking us out today. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you. We truly, honestly do. I want to say thank you to everybody on the board. You guys always keep things interesting on this show, and everybody at home as well, whether you be at work, in the car, at the gym, wherever you may be. Thank you as well. The Pittsburgh Pirates, Mike, back at it tonight in Game 2 of 3 against the Detroit Tigers in Detroit. They wrap up the series tomorrow, and then they come home. What else? No NBA Finals until tomorrow night. So if you're waiting for that game to see if OKC could wrap it up, or if Indiana takes it to the next to Game 7, Mike, Game 6 in Indiana. That game is tomorrow at 8:30. Halliburton's going to have to score more than 4 points.
Yeah, just a little bit more.
Besides for that, ain't much sports really going on today, but we will be back tomorrow first thing to talk about all this stuff and much, much more. And we'll continue to dig and scrape for all the Steelers script that we could possibly find to be able to talk about that on the show as well. Mike, speak now or forever hold your peace.
No, I got nothing. Have a good day, everyone. Appreciate you stopping by.
Absolutely. I love seeing everybody here. As always, if you haven't had a chance yet, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and share. That stuff certainly helps us out. We appreciate it greatly. Mike, and if that's it for you, my friend, we're going to wrap it up. We'll be back again tomorrow, first thing on Thursday, to do it all over again. We hope to see everybody then. For Mike in the Steeler Central Mobile Studio, for myself, the Two Done